if you look back at kind of what I've done is I've started a lot of things that have stayed, okay? Started the American Himalaya Foundation, 75 projects today. I started the Global Poverty Center at Brookings. I obviously started the Blum Center for Developing Economies at Berkeley. It's only 3 years old. It's booming. I started the Mayor's Fiscal Advisory Committee for George Moscone when he was mayor. That's how I met Dianne 30 years later. It's still going. I started something that kind of with the encouragement of the Dalai Lama, which was called the Interfaith Friendship Group, which we merged into something called the World Conference of Religions for Peace, which is kind of the main player in that. I was co-chair of that for a while. And, you know, I've obviously started this firm. I started Newbridge Capital along with David Bonnerman, which were the first private equity investors in Asia about 13 years ago, which is now merged, it's TPG Asia. When I graduated from college, it really wasn't my intent to go into the investment banking business. Particularly my year of going to school in Vienna and traveling around created this international interest in wanting to travel more, learn about different cultures, see different parts of the world. So my degree was actually in, MBA was in marketing with an emphasis on foreign marketing. I did become the youngest partner in Sutro's 100-year history when I was 29 years old. And you say, why do I think that happened is that particularly the senior partner, it was really in some ways the father of my business career, a guy by the name of Alistair Shorty Hall. He was an old Scot. He was, Shorty was a facetious name. He was probably 6'6", and became the senior partner of Sutro. To give you an idea how old line and how family controlled that entity was till Shorty Hall came along. Sutro was the oldest and I think at that time the largest investment house west of the Mississippi. In 100 years you had 3 senior partners, and you know, this is when these things were run by dynasties. And by the way, you know, I couldn't have gone to probably to work for Dean Witter. You know, there were sort of 4 Jewish investment houses here, and you could go to work there. But
so there was that.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It wasn't background. It was there. I mean,
it was very.
These don't even. I did go to talk to the guys at Dean Witter, and oh yeah, and you know, I got some conversation. But eventually, Dean Witter bought Jay Barth when they were in serious financial trouble, and the Witters, who were nice people, said, "Well, I hope that brings an end to our WASP image." And no, I mean it. I mean that's the way it was. Frankly, it didn't bother me much. I didn't care because these were sort of the firms I was most interested in anyway. In those days, particularly with trading, if your word was your bond, and for a long time, the world we lived in the investment world, if your word wasn't your bond, you might as well get out of the business because the word would get around, you weren't trusted. And, you know, and I think of the way transactions get negotiated today, particularly with our Asian operation, where you can put whatever you want in writing, but you better have a group of people that you get to know that you can trust. Because most of them, the word isn't their bond.
But isn't this also true for almost anything? Take politics. It's that networking. It's those people you build trust with. It's that social, political, economic capital.
Yeah, look, I think there's a lot of reasons I think my wife's a respected and a popular politician. Clearly all the polls have she's the most well-respected person in popular in the state, but besides that she's reasonable, sort of centrist, and does her homework. Is her words good? I think in today's world, because I'm changing, it's changing so rapidly, I am even more curious about more things than I ever have been before. But that may be all, it may be true because you don't know what's going to come up on your BlackBerry next, or the newspapers, or you have so much different opportunities in terms of media, whether you're watching the History Channel or National Geographic or what have you. And, you know, frankly, having my own plane and kind of stopping off wherever I want en route to wherever I'm going, a lot of it in Asia. You know, just in the last 2 months ago, well, I was going to India, but I wanted to stop off, you know, a couple of days coming and going. So Norbu Tenzing's wife, who's Tenzing Norgay's son, who first climbed Everest, is the vice president of our American Himalaya Foundation. Well, his wife, Ivana, is Polish, the old Polish-Sherpa combination. But Ivana's lovely. She's an expert in Himalayan art. And she said, well, why don't we stop in Poland? So we stopped in Poland. On the way back, I'd been to Italy. If I'd been there once, I've been there 30, 40 times. Never been to Sicily. So stopped off in Sicily and stopped off in I don't know how many different places in the South Pacific, going back and forth to Australia, Nepal, or whatever it is. So, and then took kids and grandkids last year, and we went all over Southern Africa. And so it kind of never stops, and I always think it's good because it gives you a perspective on what's right with the world and what's wrong with the world.